Board of Education meeting to order. Board members, you have a copy of the agenda. Are there any changes that need to be made? If none, I need to have a motion that we approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
And,
Second.
Kelly, all in favor? It is approved. Next, recognition.
Yeah, no recognitions or public participation. We do, as far as board discussion goes, the milestones scores were released and unembargoed last week. So those are public and available. You know, we had talked earlier in the spring about kind of where we were with some of that. We have back our math, science, and social studies is all we have back. ELA, you know, we'll see. TBD on that one. Probably looking at more like November before they're released. It might be December before they're public, which affects a lot of things. But some great things going on in math we saw there. 3rd and 4th grade topped the state for the first time.
What
since
did you
we've-
say? What did you say?
Math, 3rd and 4th grade
Was?
scores were a bit higher than the state for the first time.
Well, I'm just glad that.
Yeah, so it was very good. We saw gains, and I think in 6 of 7 areas, and so really excited about what's going on there. In high school algebra as well, saw a big jump there, so real tickled about that. So some good things going on in our schools, and we'll have a full presentation of that coming up pretty soon, probably September. We'll do a little bit more. This just came out last week, and we'll get it all together and show you. And then we'll have to wait till later on for ELA. But I did want to shout out 3rd and 4th grade. And then high school algebra for a big jump there. Almost beat the state in high school algebra, and that's been kind of a struggle the last couple of years. So some good things going on there.
Tim, that would be a good thing to put on Facebook.
We will. They've got some different things we're going to get ready to share. As like I said, these things just came up in last week. We got a couple of our schools that we're going to recognize that the state has put out some recognitions for. So we've got some good things coming in those areas. So excited about that. As far as quality workforce, we have a couple of board policies that we're going to have the first reading now and the second reading a little later. The first one has to do with school admissions, and this is in response to state law changes. And scroll on down our current one, and here you can see where Mike has amended this one to House Bill 268. This has to do with how quickly records have to be sent, and particularly critical records that schools have to have. We've been operating under this for a little while, but it's now in board policy that it really in response to the things that happen in Barrow County. When you're receiving a student, you want to get their records as soon as possible. So that easier said than done sometimes, because some things with Infinite Campus, Tara can tell you it's a click of a button and we can send them whatever they want. Some things we have to kind of gather up and send. Through the year, it's not really an issue. It is a little bit more of an issue in the summertime because we're not here for an extra month. And so as everybody else is kind of ramping back up in July, we're still chilling. Well, not chilling around here, but heating, I guess. But so, Tara and I have talked about ways to kind of mitigate that and make sure other systems know how to get records from us when we've got some schools that are closed. And then same for us. When we give records requests to other people, they have to respond within so many days. And it also has to do with their discipline records. And it talks about short-term, long-term suspensions, those kind of things. It's really, that's where it kind of comes from, is the behavioral side. If I get a kid, I don't know from Adam, I need to know if there's a history of violence or some different things like that, so that we can be prepared if need be. Of course, you always give kids a fresh chance wherever they come, but it's also the more you know helps there. So that's the change there, and it mirrors the state law that was written, HB 268 there. So that is the first one. The second reading we have has to do with employee leaves and absences. A couple of changes again from the state level. One of them this year is one they've talked about for a couple of years, and it passed in last year. Right now, employees earn sick days each month, and in the past, up to 3 of those sick days could be used as personal days. That has been changed to 5 days now. So they'll be allowed to have up to 5 days of that sick leave. Now, sick leave is not PTO, it is not vacation days, it is sick leave. And so we do remind people of that each year. But now 5 of those can be used as personal days. So that's been amended in our current policy. And we also have an amending to maternal leave. So the state has added 3 weeks of maternal leave that can be taken after the baby has been born. It has to be taken then. And basically their sick leave bank doesn't start getting taken while this is going on. Currently, and basically when you take FMLA, it takes from your sick days, but it does, keep your job there for you. This will be in addition to that, but it doesn't come out of their sick leave bank. So, and it's good for a lot of our families that are expecting. We've had paternal leave got added previously, and it was one that you could kind of take whenever. They gave some flexibility with that. This maternal leave is the first 120 hours, which I believe comes out to a 3-week period post-birth. So Mike added that in there as well. So those are the 2 readings we have.
How many days do they have to send that record?
I believe, Tara, what is it, 10 days? Not 10, 5 days?
send the
To
records.
send the records?
Records, yeah, we have 10 days
Yeah.
to send them. There's different points of things that have to be done within that. There's like a 5-day, a 7-day, but ultimately everything's gotta be sent. We have 10 days to get it all in and to receive too,
Mhm.
so.
And if somebody, if we request, because we get this a lot, like we request from somebody, and this is in-state, so, and then they may not get it, and so we call them again, at the school level, we deal with that a lot sometimes. Sometimes out-of-state is where it's a little harder, and of course, out-of-state isn't necessarily held to our whatever. If we call New York asking for records, if they understand us,
Yeah.
we can get them here, but
Yeah,
sometimes.
New York apparently doesn't have behavior on ours.
Yeah, no behavior records from them when we get them. But they'll have critical records they want ASAP, and then some other stuff we can kind of get to them, whether it's IEPs or behavior plans or things like that. But it's been pretty smooth going with that we've been doing it for the last couple of years, but it's just the state wanted to give some teeth. So if we request and request and request and nobody sends them, we can essentially go to our RISA and say, hey, we've been requesting from so-and-so, can you reach out? And RISA is like the next level, it's like, hey, pursuant to OCGA, you need to send these records.
Yeah.
And then if they don't send it from there, we imagine you can go to the state and do that, but no issue so far, it's been good. The only issue we have sometimes, like I said, is that summertime lull, and so we've been talking about making sure we advertise to these on our websites that, hey, if you need records in the summer, get them from the enrollment department here, and so we're gonna work on that.
Said it.
That's it.
Any public participation?
No public participation, you guys squared all
All
that.
right, operational financial effectiveness.
Nothing there, we'll do our financial report in the main meeting.
Any board discussion?
Anything for y'all then?
All right, nothing. I need a motion that we'll go into executive session.
So moved.
Hunter, Sheila, all in favor? We are in executive session.
moved.
Brenda, was that Sheila?
Yeah.
All in favor? We are in open session. Anything else?
You guys have any
All right,
questions? Sir?
go ahead.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Brenda,
Second.
Hunter, all in favor? We are adjourned.
Start up again in a few minutes.
Great, taking a break. changes that need to be made? If none, I need a motion that we approve the agenda.
Make a motion.
Sheila,
Second.
Conrad, all in favor? It is approved. If you will, please stand. Kelly's going to lead us in the pledge and inspiration.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, God, and we thank you for letting us come here tonight, Lord, and I pray for the decisions we make, that there will be good decisions, and Lord, I just pray for our upcoming school year, that you will bless the kids coming back, Lord, you'll bless our teachers, our administrators. Lord, be with the ones that are in our community that are hurting, that have lost loved ones, that are in the process of dealing with health issues. Lord, we just lift them up to you. Go with us and be with us. In your name I pray. Amen.
On the consent items, you have a copy of the meeting minutes from July the 13th. Are there any changes that need to be made? If none, I need a motion that we approve the minutes as presented.
So moved.
Brenda,
Second.
Hunter, all in favor? They are approved. Any recognition?
No recognitions or public participation tonight.
Superintendent report.
Yeah, so we're gonna get into some finance stuff. We're gonna start off with a capital outlay application. You know, as we shared before, the state has a capital outlay fund, and that fund is based on, basically the units that you have in your, schools as far as instructional units, I believe is the term I use. And that builds up. And the last time, and that's money that we can use for capital projects as given by the state. The last time that was used was at Gladden Middle School several years ago. And so it's been in there kind of building up a little bit each year. One of the things that we tried to do, even as we did the project across the street, it was allow this money to build up because it can be used for renovations and things that we need to do. And as we got closer to doing some things over there, you know, Chris and Kathy and I talked about, hey, let's let it continue. We'll take care of the renovation over here without it. We'll use some others and use this capital outlay money for some other projects we have that are coming up. So you have to do these things a year in advance. So we have to make an application now. Once we make that application, we have 5 years, I think, to take advantage of that application. So Chris has worked on an application for a couple of projects that can be completed as soon as next summer if approved. And one of those is HVAC at Chatsworth. We've had some issues over there with some units and different things, just old, the way it was kind of done. So the capital outlay formula, Chris feeds all the numbers in there, and it spits out how much money we can use. It doesn't pay for everything, but it pays for a good bit. So at Chatsworth Elementary, it would pay for a little less than $600,000 worth of project over there. Chris has an estimate for that project over there to be right around $900,000. So that would be a good 2/3 of that project, you know, would get funded by the capital outlay if we were to do that next summer. Now, what happens with any capital outlay project is we have to front the money. So like, we'll pay for the entire project. Kathy will do all her paperwork and turn in her triplicate and quadruplicate forms. And they'll eventually, hopefully quickly with this one, because it's a small project, send us that money back, what they're gonna pay. So it would be this $582,000. Chris also has done a capital outlay application to fix the roof at Coker on the gym. And for that project, we would get back around $60,000. Chris was thinking that project may cost a little over 100, is that right, Chris? Ballparking what we know, what we don't know.
It will probably be around the 2 mark.
Okay, so closer to 200. So,
What do you have to do to the, if you put a whole new roof on it?
Just for the gym.
A whole new roof on the gym?
So what we're talking about doing is what they call a retrofit, which is I wouldn't say it's cheaper, that's not really, none of it's cheap, but I think it's the most cost-effective way to do it. So basically what they'll do is the existing standing seam roof that's up there, they will put what's called ISO board in between the flutes, and then they put rubber or PVC coating over that. So the PVC coating is what we have in 85–90% of our buildings that have a flat roof. It's very, very common, you know, it's just what they do. and it's a cheaper way to do it than ripping it all off and putting, standing seam back down. And the warranty is, you're probably about 10 years less, but you've also got a double roof, if that makes any sense. I think doing a modified roof on that building is the smartest way to do it.
Will that also help with the air, the cooling the gym?
To an extent, that gym's pretty high.
Yeah.
And, you know, it will help out some, but the roof on that building doesn't cover its shot. The rest of Coker is gonna have to come at some point in time. We've got a few other projects we need to get knocked out before we do it. But Coker's, the rest of the building roof, it needs a lot of attention too. Probably my biggest headache when it comes to roof is Coker.
Our plan was, just as we're navigating some financial things on the SPLOST side and bonds and things we've got going, was to knock out some low-hanging fruit. Maybe next summer, you know, we'd like to be able to do that. It's gonna depend on where we are, you know, because we gotta front this. And if we can do that next summer, we would come back to you this time again next year and do a capital outlay application for a larger project going forward. Because right now, we've got about, you think about 5 million in there?
5.3.
There you go. So that's how much money is available to us. We're gonna take a little bit out here. The big project coming up next, we talked about, is probably looking at some HVAC projects around. It may be a school like Eton, where that's a large project. We talked about doing partial, like do a little bit now and do a little bit later. Chris said he felt it would be better to do it all at one time so that it's on the same schedule. And we're not trying to piece things together. So if we can do some low-hanging fruit next summer, then we can come back and do another application. And it may not be the next summer, the summer after. It may have to be 2 summers, you know. But there again, they'll tell us how much money they'll fund. And so that'll give us a sense of, okay, how much do we have to put in ourselves versus how much we have to do from the capital outlay. But by then, we will have a little more flexibility with our SPLOST money because we'll have one bond completely finished and we'll just be working on the last bond there, which will make it a little easier to have some excess SPLOST money to do.
What I would like to do in the future is, you know, it may not be every year, but every other year, you know, do something like this, pick out a spot in one building that's a problem area, and use capital outlay funding to do it. It's the smartest way to do it, it's the cheapest way to do it. Like Tim said, we've gotta have the money in there to do it, you have to front it, your entitlement money has to be there. But if we, you know, do something one year, you might do something the next year, you may have to skip a year to build that money up, but it's the cheapest way to keep these buildings the way they need to be.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. 'Cause, I mean, that's consistency right there. I mean, because if you don't, you just leave it and Band-Aid it, and then it causes bigger problems down the road.
Yes.
So
I don't know if this could be considered under that, but you know, when we went over and looked at the high school, and it's so pretty, but the outside really looks bad. It needs some paint or something. And then where the stuff's gone up at the side, it just,
The back especially.
it just needs.
When it comes to what I can spend money on capital outlay, what I can get, they're kind of funny about it. I can't do administrative offices, I couldn't do a gym, I couldn't do, say, a field house or something like that. What you can do is anywhere where there's academics inside, like remodeling, like what we're doing at Murray High, you could use that if you wanted to, but there's certain things I can use it for, and there's certain things I cannot use it for. I would have to check on that particular part of it, I'm not 100% sure, but I would have to verify that with them to see if I can use that money for it.
Yeah, some of that can be, you know, pressure wash and some things like that to get some of that mud off the bottom. You know, we talked about that prior.
Well, I'm not sure, the back of it's not, I don't think pressure washing is gonna help it.
You know,
It's
when,
cracked like bricks is.
They're talking about the
Yeah,
brick
it's
itself, gotcha.
Chipped off and looks terrible.
so the original plan was to redo the administrative offices at Murray County, redo the cafeteria, along with, remodeling what we done this summer. And I'm all for it, and I think re-air conditioning and putting roofs on where they're needed comes before that,
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes, sir.
But I hadn't even heard a discussion upon what the original plan was. And I'm not sure that the high school would've gotten renovated if I hadn't set up here and just, I think we'd rode it down the road too, kicked that can down the road. So where is that at on the plans?
So we're looking at, right now, somewhere around 2029, 2030, and it would depend on budgets.
It would come out of SPOS.
It would, but we've got to make sure that we get that bond paid off, and once that bond is paid off, then you could say, okay, because that, an administrative wing, or really, we looked at the cafeteria, we went over and checked it out, and even the kitchen was part of that remodel too. And part of it was based on, we gotta expand this cafeteria, we gotta expand the kitchen, or at least re-footprint it, because it's kind of tight. And as we've talked, we may be able to do some things with the kitchen to where we could not have to build a brand new one, which is ridiculously expensive. We might be able to completely remodel the one we have, or maybe add a little bit to it. The cafeteria, with the size of the school, we think we don't need to add to the cafeteria. We can, take care of cleaning that up, making it look like the rest of the school. So then you get into the administrative wing. We talked about the media center, and we've talked about that. Do we have to build a new media center, or do you completely refresh what you've got there and make it look better? And then you've got the CTAE wing, which is a whole other animal. We kind of left it alone a little bit because we're grandfathered into some things that are beneficial to us at the moment. So once we get some bills paid, and once we get that 24 bond taken care of, then we could say, all right, do we want to go and do another bond to finish what we need to finish? But right now, even with our SPOS dollars being pretty good, we couldn't handle that part. That's why we kind of pushed it down to about then, and went ahead and did the remodel, low-hanging fruit kind of thing.
But is it still on the list to be done?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And the CTAE, the culinary and stuff, that's still on there to be done?
The CTAE is a separate thing itself, and that's later on down the road, because if we're gonna add programs, there's a lot to that. It's not just, we'd have to plan for it, build the space, do the things that need to be done ahead of time on Terra's end for that, for sure.
Whenever which I think CTAE, my understanding is we're kind of at the end of the remodel over at Murray High. Once we start remodeling CTAE, I have to be up to code with what the state requirements are for lab spaces. So right now, my labs are smaller, but I'm grandfathered in. So right now I'm good, but once the remodel starts, I'm gonna have to rebuild. So if we wanted to add culinary, that would be a new program, of course, and of course I would have a lot more, cost.
Yeah.
Because of building the lab that culinary is required to have. And of course, I would need Chris to help with the space and where it could go and that sort of thing. But we'd have to look at our numbers and see if my numbers can hold it, which of course I could. I think culinary would be popular enough to fill.
And hair.
It's just a matter of numbers. Would I have to cut another program? Could I make my class sizes with the size of the enrollment? I'm hoping with those, in the next few years, I hope our enrollment can go up to where I definitely will need them, so. I'd love that.
We talked about that, back when we first started talking about doing the
Remodel.
remodel stuff, we talked about culinary, we talked about the
Cosmetology.
cosmetology, you know, that one.
Fair, yes.
And, we got somebody that wants that, but we don't have it, we can't offer it to them. So,
And on the same, I would like to add, there's also things that North Murray doesn't have.
Right,
That
right.
I would love, our welding is phenomenal over at Murray, Tyson's done a wonderful job with building that program, and it's so beneficial this day and time. I would love to be able to offer that at North Murray as
I
well,
thought they had welding in North Murray.
No, I have ag mechanics.
But they weld, right?
He
They have
does
a welding unit, I think.
Yeah, he does a little bit with construction.
I gotcha.
And there could be a little welding, but it's not welding like what Murray
Like
offers.
certification.
Yes, no, because it is really agriculture side, but he does really well with trying to incorporate that, the building, the construction, with it. So, but like
Well,
Murray
yeah.
does have a full construction class, a full welding class that, I would also love to offer,
I'd like for
in all
most schools
honesty,
to be
it
the
really-
same, all kids get the same
It's unfair to
opportunities.
schools, like if you're living on the south end and you're wanting to be a cosmetologist,
right.
then that hurts you, like, unless you come and get transferred or whatever, it's just, it just puts people to unfair
It
advantage.
does. It does.
Well,
I mean,
it
it's
gi-
just,
it
it's
gives us
hard.
a chance when
It's
we get to
hard.
that point to where we can evaluate everything. Like she said, anytime you add something, you may have to take something away. And the reason why that it's changed and it's different now had to do with demand at that time. And so we'll have to see what our kids are demanding, what the workforce around us demands. You know, that's stuff that Tara takes into consideration as we meet with all these people around us all the time, telling us, hey, here's what we need. Like, I'd love to have like a manufacturing, you know, things. There's stuff like that where they say,
Absolutely, yeah.
this is what we need to better prepare our kids in our area. And maybe this area, our kids aren't taking this class as much. Maybe we have to do a reevaluation
Right.
program, and then you slowly try to get it the same. But we do have the mechanisms to where if kids want to, you know, transfer, they can do that. We've had a couple
Yeah.
that have done that. But our CTA folks do a wonderful job, and as we get into that stage of that project over there, that's when we can have a little more detailed conversations and see what's coming down the pipe for our kids, what our kids want, what they don't want, and then kind of evaluate where we go from there.
Yeah, but as far as facilities, I feel like we've even added, and we've used money to add curb appeal to some schools, but Murray High School over there on the back looks like a dilapidated building. It's got vines running up the side of the building out there where the cafeteria is. It looks terrible.
Well, those are the things, some of the things that we can work on and get better with. We've got some spaces like that at a lot of places.
Yeah, but
so
I don't know if I've seen them worse than that.
But Chris and his folks getting around, I saw somebody out doing some stuff at, you know, Chatsworth the other day, getting some things off the sign and, especially this time of year. They stay hopping over there. But for capital outlay, we can use these funds to take care of these things like Chris has talked about with, these things that we've gotta get done, and like the HVAC
Yes,
and some of
yes,
that.
I mean, of course, that's,
Yeah.
yeah.
And once we get past that bond and get everything paid off with the gym and everything over there, that gives us a lot more flexibility to be able to go back and say, okay, if we're gonna do this other project, this administrative wing, CTAE, here's a price on it, and we can come back and see about doing another bond then, once we're clear. Craig, the architect, has still got plans. We're meeting with him soon to kind of look and see what that next phase looks like, because we want him to have that stuff done so that when it's time to go, it's time to go, and not do it as we go, which has been the case sometimes, but they've been a good partner and worked well with us.
CTAE stuff,
Oh, it will?
and kitchen,
Yes.
cafeteria stuff.
And we're talking about some stuff over there with the cafeteria we got, and then finding some ways to spruce it up, because I think we can do some things without having to get as expensive as it could have gotten on the kitchen side, and get Mandy and her folks what they need over there, the space they need, the equipment they need to do things, without having to break the bank on that, out back, building new kitchens and building new media centers. I think we can do some great things over there.
Is your equipment over there, like new, or is it?
We buy it as we need it.
Okay, so it's
The
not.
main thing that our problem is our cooler and freezer. We
They're
were just trying
outside.
to. Well, there's a spare one outside. They're actually not outside, but they've always been really small.
Gotcha.
And you have to go through the cooler to get to the freezer. Well, for years, we've needed a new one. Chris, when he came, he helped us get all new workings, the inners of it. And we do need a new one, but at the time, the original plan was to put the kitchen somewhere else on the
Yeah.
property. It wasn't even
Yeah.
gonna be, so we couldn't do that.
Right.
So we've just kinda had our hands tied Band-Aiding, so now that we know
Yeah.
pretty well, so Craig's gonna try to help us draw up something, a mock-up,
That makes
and
it-
then we'll be able to even I can replace that
Yeah.
myself, you know,
Yeah.
anytime later. So now that we're kind of know what we're doing, we think we can just kind of do more like we did at Northwest and Gladden, where you gut and
Yeah.
start over. It's amazing what they can do when you tear
Yeah.
down some walls, so.
Which would be a huge
But the
savings.
equipment we bought as we
Yeah.
need it, so
Need
it's
it.
not like the equipment's terrible, it's just, of course, the
space.
electrical, we don't have enough power to get everything we need, and we don't have, you know, the sewage, but that's better, you know, there's
Yeah.
things,
Yeah.
there's things.
So we're excited about that. It is gonna be a few years down the road, but it's not so far down the road that we can't see it. And it's still at the front of our mind. Matter of fact, we're supposed to meet with, like I said, Craig in the next couple of weeks to kind of talk through some of what that looks like. And that'll give us a better idea of kind of what to plan for. But financially, we just wanna make sure we're in a good place. And just capital outlay, I think Chris has a good plan with that. And so what we'll do tonight is ask you to vote on this, capital outlay, approve this, and then I'll have to go in and sign some stuff. You may have to sign something, and then the state will get that turned in, and we'll look at that next summer and see where we are, to be able to do it. And then we'll turn into another one and go from there.
Now, we're gonna go ahead and vote on, this section. If there's no other questions, I need a motion that we approve the capital outlay application.
So moved. Second.
Kelly, Brenda, all in favor? It is approved.
All right, so we'll get that stuff taken care of, Christian, after Laura to go in and do that.
We'll vote that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think we got, did you
You
get an
get to vote
email
on-
from them? I'll get you.
I think I did, but I haven't, it was low on the list.
Well, big yellow letters that said, do not do this
Yeah.
until,
Right.
so we've been waiting.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah. All right, Dr. Smith, you are up.
I can give a little bit more insight onto the SPLOS. So keep in mind that your 2022 SPLOS that just ended. So the 2022 SPLOS, you have three bonds. You have a 2022 bond, you have a 2024 bond, you have a 2026 bond. So the 2022 SPLOS is helping to pay for the 2022 bond, okay? And over the years, when you've had excess SPLOS that goes beyond the payments that were due on that, remember that helped, that excess SPLOS was used to pay for the track. Excess SPLOS was used to pay for concessions, that remodel, Northwest Elementary, remodel, Gladden Middle School, remodel. Okay, so all those excess SPLOS deposits above and beyond what was needed for the payment of the bond has been used to help fund some of those projects, because those projects are now off our books and they're cleared and they're not part of our financials anymore. So that's a great thing. That was a lot of expense. But a lot of things was used for that money. So now you're in the 2024 SPLOS. And so now that 24 SPLOS money is going to help pay for the 2024 bond, which was for the high school, and the 2026 bond, which was the 5.9 we just did. And the purpose of borrowing that was to start doing some of that interior work that could be done instead of waiting until 2028 or 29 or 2030 to do it. So it was kind of, let's do what we can right now. And as you build 2024 SPLOS, I think time I took off the payments, I can't remember if it's April of 27 or April of 28 is when the excess SPLOS will be there. You have to build the money up, you pay your debt, and then whatever's left is your excess SPLOS that you can use for future projects. So that's kind of how that works. So you're really in 3 bond repayments right now. So that is eating up your SPLOS.
But like, you're not making any payments on the 24 bond yet, and you're not paying the 26 bond yet.
Yes.
The 24 bond starts in October of 27, which is when the 22 bond ends. So that, we'll have that double payment that month, that'll clear 2022 out of the way, and we'll only be paying on the 2024 bond. And then, I think the next year, we'll start adding a little bit of extra for the remodel stuff that we did over there. But SPLOS continues to do well, and we'll have that money, and this is a bigger SPLOS tier that it was done for, so there'll be more funds available once we can get that payment down. And so, it's coming.
Yeah, it takes time. It
Yeah.
takes time. And you don't realize how much you've used those SPLOS dollars, but they have paid for a lot of projects over the years.
It's been a blessing, and our community's been supportive of that, and we certainly appreciate that. It's been good to see. We have great facilities here, and we've got things we need to work on. Little things, always something Chris can tell you. But we do have great facilities here, and we're appreciative of our community for supporting that.
Yeah. So speaking of SPLOS, 2024 SPLOS, so we have our July payment that came in at $621,000. Little slightly less than it was this time last year, not much, less than $1,000, and then it was considerably more than it was in 23 and 24. So those SPLOS dollars are continuing to grow. each and every month, so that's a good sign, you know, so we'll continue to move towards that. We're gonna talk about the June financials, so this is something we're gonna talk about this month, next month, and probably October should be the last of that conversation, so just keep in mind, as I'm going through these, by the time that I've got these ready for you, the numbers have already changed, and I'll give you a breakdown of some of those numbers. But as of June of 2026, we're showing revenues of collected at the time of this was around 80,604,000. So we way exceeded our revenues over our budgets. You know, it's over 103%. The same is true with expenditures. That's why in just a few minutes we're going to have a budget amendment, because expenditures of 81,444,000, which way exceeded our budget. Keep in mind, $1.6 million of that is a bonus that never was put in that budget to begin with. The governor's bonus, when you approved this budget, we didn't know we were doing that. So that is not in these numbers, but the expense is, so we're gonna have to fix that. So you're looking at, when you put the revenues to the expenditures, you're looking at a deficit around 839,000. Currently, as of right this minute, that deficit is already down to 807,000. Hopefully, it's gonna go way below that. But keep in mind, around 400,000 of that, 800,000 was our portion that when we paid that bonus, we didn't get those revenues for. We only got a set number of revenues, but we paid everybody. The difference is part of that deficit. Okay?
Yeah, when she talks about that bonus, it hits on both sides, so you're like, wow, our revenues went way up. It went way up because we got $1.3 million.
Right.
The expenditures went up because we had to spend out, $6, $7, $8 million. That's where we talked about, that bonus was costing between $400,000 and $500,000, and we knew that, and we felt it was the right thing to do for our employees, and so we felt like we were in a good place where we could absorb it with some other things that we've been able to do. So it does hit on both sides of that.
Yes.
When people ask, well, your
Right.
revenues went up, why'd your expenditures go up? Well, it was because it was specially purposed for that
It's
thing.
not a one-to-one match.
Yes.
So you only get a fixed amount of revenue, but you have a larger amount of expenditures. So just keep in mind, these numbers are gonna change each time I bring them to you, they're gonna change, so it's not over till it's over. Remember, you guys that have been here a long time, it's not over till it's over. Until the audit's over, it's not over. Okay, but we do have a good snapshot of where we might land. So when we look at the comparison of this time last year, you can see it's very similar. Everything is very similar. Cash is very similar, at the 16 million, along with the equity and the liabilities. It's very similar. The same is true now with, when we look at the snapshot, these have no accruals in them. We've already expensed those. So we've got all the revenue in there from the QBE, and we have all the payrolls in there. So there's no accruals in these numbers. These are actual numbers. So this is where the 80 million in revenues is broken down from. You can see that we have 106% of our local taxes have come in. 120% of the other, that is where that state bonus was put as well. So you can see that's why it exceeded that amount. So we've collected, 80,000 in the revenues. Here's a breakdown of those expenditures as they stand right now. This is the breakdown of the 81 million of expenditures. We knew that we had functions, those categories are called functions in the budget. So we knew that we had functions that were gonna exceed the budget. We knew that going into it, and that's why we're gonna do the budget amendment, because every one of those have to be back in line. So that's what we're gonna do when we approve the amendment here in just a few minutes. And I was working on getting that ready before I came down here, because I need to submit it to the state tomorrow. They're already asking for it.
And just know that bonus hits in every function, because those bonuses went to employees that are in every single one of those.
Yes. We gotta touch every one of them.
That's why you see them elevated in some places, because everybody got a $2,000 bonus. And so, it adds up in those areas.
So it breaks it down, there again, it says that the deficit, if you go on down to the next page, is 839,000. I've already shared, we've already had some revenues come in, so we're at 807. So that's gonna continue to go down between now and when we actually finish this year's actuals. So,
What I've shared with you guys is, you know, at the beginning of the year, when we did this last in, 25, when we did the budget, the budget deficit was projected at roughly $946,000. Internally, we had hoped we could get that cut in half, as we came in at the end of the year. As the year went on, expenditures were looking pretty good, particularly in our salary line. We've done most of our work in the salary line, and we've been able to do a good job getting that trend down. As the year went on, the $400,000 or $500,000 on the bonus side, we knew that would be there. But the second half of the year, energy costs hit us with electricity, hit us in gas, hit us in diesel. A couple of other things kind of got us along the way too, some things that you can't plan for, like the last 6 months have been at the gas pump, you guys see that. But we had insurance on one thing, went up $50,000.
in July and August, insurance went to the new premium.
Yes.
So you're paying the new premium in the
With the old
26.
QBE.
Yeah, with the old QBE. Yes.
So we knew those things would get us, but the good news is, we're hoping to get that, we won't quite get to half. We would have gotten way below half, if we didn't have the bonus that ended in there, but that's okay. Honestly, April and May, we were thinking we would be balanced, this year, but the spring excess costs of things that just went up just got us. And we talked about some things that we gotta work on controlling, sub costs, some of those things that we can do, that will make a difference in it.
Yeah, 'cause that was up, what, 200?
It was up a couple $100,000.
Yeah.
So I do feel good about all this we're talking about now is 26. It doesn't touch 27, which is the budget we presented a couple of weeks ago, where we presented the balanced budget, and we feel even better about that as far as where we're gonna be there. But we were a little bit disappointed that we didn't get to what we wanted to this year. But it's still better than we predicted. So I think we're, like I said, we're trending in the right direction, and we were just a little bummed about we didn't get where we thought we could get in April and May.
Yeah, but, it's still a very good, it's still a very good way to end that year. It's below the amount that we expected, and not as good as we hoped, but it's not as bad as it could have been.
Considering where we were 2 years ago.
It is. I mean, it's trending in the right direction, and next year will be hopefully where we can get it completely. It's like turning around a bus. Sometimes you gotta make a couple of point turnabout before you get it going the other direction.
What was the number, what's the deficit number for the final number for the year?
We don't know yet.
You said you're-
26?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
still
we
collecting
don't have
revenues.
Next month.
You said you're 807 right now?
We're at
807.
807 right now.
807, yeah.
We're at 807,000 deficit right now.
Then we 945 were
What we projected.
budgeted.
Yes.
So we'll.
So we're under that, but we ain't as good as what we
What we hoped.
hoped for.
Right.
Yeah. Like I said, just some things caught up at the end, and it was really those costs in the spring and.
You gotta remember, June, and this is something that, I was sharing with him, June contains June, July, and August expenditures. You have 3 months of expenditures hitting in the very last physical month of your budget. Yeah, and it can be huge. And so you try to predict it, you put those salaries in there, you put those benefits in there, but you've got other things that are coming through there too. You've got, sub costs, you've got all these things that coming in right at the very last, electricity, filling up tanks, everything that comes in at the end of the school year all hits that 1 month, and it can be enormous. And so you can't always predict what June's gonna be, because you're predicting 3 months of expenditures. But you also get July and August, some revenues from your local tax dollars to help offset that. So we're not done yet. We're not done. We're still collecting revenue. So, hopefully we'll continue to go down even further. But, we hope that we could have at least broke even, but don't think we're gonna make that.
Maybe next year.
Yeah.
Next year, we budgeted that way, and we're gonna keep it that way.
Yeah.
Both years, we've been able, last 2 years, we've been able to come under what we said we would come under.
Yeah,
And if we do that next year, we'll turn a surplus.
yep.
All
So,
expenditures put in this year for 26, or for the,
Yes. They're
all we're
in.
looking at is to get more revenue.
That's
Correct.
right. We
Okay.
have nowhere to
So
go
we're
but
gonna go
down.
down.
Yeah.
All their
Go that way.
expenditures in there, I'm not even letting anything go through
No,
twenty-six. Yeah, so everything now is 27, but everything revenue-wise, we do get to go down because we get to still collect revenues. So we still are gonna continue to go down. 807,000 worth down, no.
can we get another 50, another
Maybe
100?
there's not gonna be balance.
What's your
It's gonna-
guess, or, educated guess?
I put the,
200,000 off of it,
I put the deficit at 677
so,
on the budget amendment.
130,
We'll see if we get close to that.
30,000.
Yeah. So I'm thinking positive.
And then we turn the page and start on 27. Like I said,
And
we
if
feel
you
good about
take
that.
400 to so thousand off of that, then you're right around 200,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and we keep bringing that up, just not because we didn't want to do it.
No,
No.
because
We're all for
we
it,
did the
it's
right
just
thing.
because
Yeah.
it's just, you gotta remember that expense is an expense in there that we
Wasn't
didn't plan
budgeted
for.
for.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. So we definitely are glad we did it, and even if you ended up in a deficit, we would have still wanted you to do it.
Yeah.
But it is contributing to that number. So if we got down to 600 and we had 400 of that was for that, then we got really close to
Yeah.
balancing it.
Yep.
You know, one or two bills in there that we didn't know, that we couldn't control, that we had to pay, then,
You're talking
We could've had-
$350 to $400,000 is fuel and electricity, which is directly related to the events of the world in the last 6 months. And so we were cruising along pretty good, in the first half of the year with energy costs and where we were, and it just caught up to us. And so, those are things that are a little bit out of our control. We did adjust our budget for next year, so like the numbers that we had in there, we raised so that we can allow for that. And even with allowing for that, we still,
And it
proposed a
doesn't help.
balanced budget, so.
this 26 budget also included 2 months of TRS going up. Because your July and August, you have to pay the new TRS rates out of your old budget. Because your payroll is July and August, has to have the new percentage of TRS in there. That inches up every year. But then they turned right around and added health insurance costs on top of that again. So then you have health insurance in July and August coming out for every employee that wasn't budgeted, because we put the current rate in there when we passed the budget, and then the rate went up in July and August, and we have to pay that too out of 26, and those expenses were in there.
So I guess we filled that big tank we put in, the fuel tank, last year.
We filled it a few times. Randall can speak to that. Like it's the fuel tanks over there. It's been a good investment. We got it just in time when it comes from an environmental standpoint. They came over there to do the things they needed to do, and we've got a little bit of things we're gonna have to do over there that'll cost a little bit of money. But had we waited another year on that, we could have been talking, instead of talking a few thousand, we could have been talking hundreds of thousands. Or not, because they came over, they have to do all their EPA testing, they gotta do all their stuff. And when they did it, we were close. But I think we're in a good place over there, but we were able to take advantage of that at the beginning of the year when gas was much less. And you could get it at a cheaper price, but how many miles we run? Randall?
It's right at 800,000.
Yeah. So
It's
that,
full to start the year right now. Tank's full to start the school year.
We have enough capacity to hold 2 tanker loads, and we're waiting on that.
You're gonna wait till the price goes down, or if you can.
Yeah, our total cost for the year was about $2.80 a gallon is where we wound up with, so we didn't do bad. Well, we only
That
had
was
to
his
buy fuel
average.
yeah.
twice when it just got pretty bad. But, and now we have enough capacity to run us to about the 1st of October before we have to buy anything. So there's sort of, matter of fact, I'm gonna meet with, our brokers here one day this week and have lunch, and there's a forecast for sort of the roller coaster ride. We have to have our purchase in by 2:30 in the afternoon. So we gotta commit to those lower prices, and then we can get delivery. We'll buy it at that point, and then they'll deliver it whenever they get time to do it. So we pre-buy on the low point on it, so.
You know, just remember, a budget is a,
Revolving.
it's,
Yeah, I guess.
it's a guess.
Especially the way we need to do
Forecast.
ours.
Yeah, it's a forecast.
It's a
You know, in May and June of this year, we budgeted for what we were gonna end up in October of next year. And there's a lot of time between now and then, and there's expenses that we're gonna be talking about over the months that we don't even know are coming. And so, you know, to get a surplus at the end is great. And that's our goal. It's a hard target to hit. But we're gonna keep working and managing it as much as we can on a monthly basis, so. One of the things that helps is this interest every month. We got another $16,000 in that Georgia Fund 1 interest. That goes straight into revenues to offset some of these expenses. Your deficit would be about $190,000 more had you not had that interest. So that's about what we've collected.
Y'all done a great job. I mean, we was looking at $4.5 million deficit
Yeah.
2 years ago.
Yes.
So I mean, it's
We're getting,
unbelievable.
we're getting there.
Yeah.
So we hope, April, we had some hopes, but it's all right. We better than what we thought we would be to start the year. Sometimes you gotta take a back look at the big picture, and then I like what we got going next year. I feel good about it, so.
So, if you want to scroll on
Yeah.
down, we'll go ahead and do this so this particular purchase order, we've got it in there as a quote. Have you, Israel, have you heard yet for sure if that, okay.
I have not heard yet.
So basically, there's got to be some cabling and things done, and there is a funding mechanism to pay for that outside of us paying for it. But they are not sure yet if that funding is gonna be available or how much of it. So obviously, what we're gonna end up doing is potentially paying up front for that and then getting our reimbursement back. 90% of it,
90%, right.
so we have to, so we're gonna go ahead and ask you to approve the purchase or approve the PO to do the work if we have to do it. If we don't have to pay for it ourselves and we can only pay the 10%, then that's even better. But because we don't know, we're getting the purchase in case we have to move forward, because obviously the contractor's not gonna do the work unless they know they're gonna get paid. So it's sort of a backup plan, and we're gonna take it out of the construction fund, so it's not gonna come out of the general fund budget, it is gonna come out of the construction fund. So it's gonna be one of those things that if you can approve it, then we'll have that part done, and if we have to use it, then we will, and we'll get reimbursed. If we don't, we'll just pay our part, and that'll be even better. Is that pretty accurate?
Pretty much, yep.
Okay.
I think it's not as much of a worry as if it's gonna get done, it's just been a matter of when.
Yeah, normally you would have already approved this, and it wouldn't even been an issue with doing a PO with it, would have just paid our 10% and moved on, but they're not approving anybody yet this year. It's just been a thing across the state everywhere, everybody's kind of sitting and waiting.
Alright. I
Anything
gotta
else?
do the budget amendment.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so the budget amendment is, there you go, is there, so in the state of Georgia, it is a requirement that the expenditures, those functions, those categories have to be in the black, they can't be in the negative. Line items can go in the negative, so you don't have to have every line item in the black, but the function itself has to have enough money in there to cover the expenditures. So, knowing what the expenditures are, I've presented a budget. So the $80,769,905 is adding roughly $2.7 million of revenue. And that has a little bit of that extra that I think might come in. That's gonna help our deficit. So, but that is the actual revenues plus a little bit of that local revenue that I think might come in that between now and when we have to close the books. So we're roughly gonna add 2.7 to the revenue side. And then on the expenditure side, we're adding, 2.5 to the expenditure side. So that gets all those functions in the blacks to match up to the expenditures, okay? So that creates the revenues and the expenditures creates the deficit of the 677,000. That was my guesstimate on where we might get close to. So, and we're at 807, I'm wanting us to get lower than that, so your revenues are in there to hopefully absorb any additional revenue we have, and the expenditures are set, they're not gonna move. So that should give us that, hopefully that better surplus, or better deficit than where we are right now. But that'll help. Get that, if you approve that, I'll get that done, I'll get that sent to the state, and they'll quit sending Tim and I emails. So. Yes.
All right, there's no other questions. I need a motion that we approve the SPOS outline of the financial statement as presented.
One question before.
Yeah.
So what if those revenues don't come in?
Your deficit will stay
No, we-
at 807, or
Okay, but what you send them ain't gonna be right if
it,
so it don't,
that doesn't matter.
okay.
Yeah,
What matters is that the expenditures are covered. You can exceed
Yeah.
revenues. You can come in less with revenues. You can't exceed what you guys approved for us to spend, we can't exceed that, and we've already exceeded it.
Yeah.
and that's
So
all.
they
They
won't
just-
be
they don't
no
care
more
that we got a
expenditures,
deficit
so you're
for
not worried.
No, they don't.
Okay.
No,
No.
they don't. When the
Unless
audit,
it gets way out of hand, then they'll
Yes.
take you know,
oh yeah, then
Yeah.
they'll
We ain't even
pay to
close to that.
visit.
No.
So remember on the audit, it's very confusing, on the audit, you all are looking at just the general fund. On the audit, they combine our expenditures and our revenue with school nutrition expenditures, school nutrition revenue, federal programs expenditures, federal programs revenues, special ed expenditures, special ed federal revenues, the school money that the school have in their accounts, that all goes in. Your fund balance is gonna show up as a surplus. I mean, it's gonna show up at the end probably as a surplus instead of a deficit anyway, but it's the combination of everything together. So they don't look at you and just general, when they do the audit, everything goes in the pot, everything comes out of the pot, and then the difference is either a surplus or a deficit. So they don't separate it out by whose money is who.
They just look at it one big thing.
They
Yeah.
say this is all Murray County money. So they don't, usually you don't end up with a deficit on your audit.
All right, there's no other questions. I need a motion that we approve the SPOS outline and the financial statement as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Hunter, all in favor? It is approved. Next, I need a motion that we approve the purchase order as presented.
So moved.
Brenda,
Second.
Sheila, all in favor? It is approved. Next, I need a motion that we approve the budget amendment for FY '26.
So moved.
Second.
Kelly, Conrad, all in favor? It is approved. The next,
Yeah, next up, we got a field trip request. This is coming through for a senior trip for next year. I think North Murray and Murray last year, they had an opportunity for seniors to go to Hawaii. I don't know if Steve Granger did a hula dance or anything while he was there, but he was there to help supervise. That was a great trip from what I hear, so.
Are y'all doing both schools again this year if they wanna go, like, yeah?
They're working on it together, and so they wanted to go ahead and get this request in so that they would know, you guys were on board so they could then get more detailed planning. And so we're looking to go to Puerto Rico, no passport required down there, go down and see some nice historical things.
Yeah.
17-acre.
We're at San Juan.
That'd be pretty.
Eat some good food,
Yeah.
there, so.
And I guess this is like the college spring break, like, is that why y'all do it in March? Yeah, so the seniors that do go along. That'd be a good time.
So that's the request they have. They're gonna get more details once they didn't wanna get too deep in the weeds until you guys were in support of it, so.
You're just gonna be gone 5 days?
Well, it don't take but 3 hours probably to get there.
Much better flight than going to
Yeah,
Hawaii.
Hawaii.
Much better.
That's probably all they can keep up with them.
Probably so.
All right, if there's no question, I need a motion that we approve the field trip as presented.
So maybe.
Second.
Brenda, Hunter, all in favor? It is approved.
Quality workforce, again, just a repeat of the work session. We have our school admissions policy that has to do with quick turnaround of records based on House Bill 268, making sure that we're in line with that. And then we have our leave policy that will be updated based on new guidance from the state, new law to make it 5 personal days instead of 3 out of their sick days. It does not add to their sick days. It just gives more that they can use for personal. And also adding some language in there about maternity leave. And that will be a good help to our employees to not have to use all of their FMLA. The next thing in there is a tribunal schedule. Each year, we have a tribunal schedule set up, so if students, violate certain things in our handbook, it calls to a tribunal. We have administrators around that take turns sitting in on that. And so Mike has got a schedule there for you that we need to be approved.
We was discussing that in there. Is there actually a tribunal every week, or some weeks is there not a tribunal and it just goes?
Some weeks there's not,
Okay.
because it just depends on if
Well, there's not one
anybody.
every week. Have a month, what would you say a good average would be?
Oh, that would be more than Mike. I'd say probably 1 or 2.
1 or 2 a month?
Yeah, I mean, it depends.
So
you know,
if the
some-
tribunal don't follow along that person's, then it goes to the next one? Yeah.
Yes, yes. And so it just depends on, certain times of the year, business picks up.
March is more busy.
Yeah. And then sometimes it's pretty quiet.
Summer's not as busy.
I can always tell because they have it over here,
It
so like
starts
I
out
got,
slow, and then toward the end of the year it picks up.
Yeah.
there's certain times a year, like it's one of those months when, I hear people coming through the hallway on a Thursday morning.
You know it's a full moon when it.
You could about catch it with the moon cycle, yes.
All right, if there's no questions, I need a motion that we approve the tribunal schedule as presented. Brenda,
Second.
Kelly, all in favor? It is approved.
All right, next up is personnel, and as discussed, we're gonna vote this in 2 parts. You wanted to pull out C1 and vote for it separately, so I would ask that you approve the packet as presented, and then you can also then vote on C1 individually for that.
All right, so we're gonna vote on the whole personnel packet first. Tony, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, if you, I need a motion that we approve the personnel packet as presented.
So moved.
Make a mo-
Kelly, Tony, you second it?
Yes.
All right, all in favor? It is approved. All right, next, I need a motion that we approve C1 on the personnel packet.
I
All
make
in
a
favor?
motion.
Or, I'm sorry, Conrad?
I make a motion.
Okay.
Second.
I need a second.
Second.
Brenda? All in favor? 2, 4. All opposed, show of hands or
No.
verbal?
Okay.
All right, 3. Hold on 1 second. It was
4-3.
4-3, 4 yes, 3 no. All right, so it is approved, C1 is approved. All right, is there any board discussion?
Chris, and now that Steve's here, I just wanted to get like updates, like I saw where the parking lot looks like it's done at Murray.
It is.
What's are we done with the school, the inside?
No, I'm gonna say, in another 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks. We're down to punch work stuff right now, some door issues, but it's nothing major at all. Flooring's done, ceilings are done, lights are done, that sort of thing. A lot of cleanup in there. But within another 2 weeks or so, we'll pretty much be wrapping it up.
And the Jumbotron. I see it on Facebook. It looks like is it up?
It's up.
It's up,
Yeah.
They're just
So when do we
finishing
click
up.
the button to turn it on?
We're supposed to commission next week, but they haven't given me a date or a time yet, so.
And
Steve,
so,
I'm sorry, Steve and I were talking about it today. We're excited about our kids getting to kind of take hold of it.
Yeah.
We were talking about some kids that got, I won't say scholarships, but were
Yes.
going out to
Working.
colleges to run those things because they've had the opportunity through their AV classes, so we're excited about that.
so like on a Friday night, does somebody just sit up there in the booth and run it, or does it, you just put in what you want to show
There'll
and
be
it just?
3 iPads in the booth.
Okay, And
One
it-
of them, the official runs the clock like they normally would, and the other 2 will
run the
run
board.
all the video stuff.
Well, I hope y'all get lots of sponsors to get on there and stuff. I saw where
So
y'all,
far, it's been
good.
pretty good.
We got-
You also got new lights,
Yes.
so have you been able to tell if it's
Not
bright?
yet, so
Not
I
yet.
think we're doing all that
At the same time.
same time.
Yeah, which makes sense.
So
We're finishing up looking at the speakers, I think, and everything.
I think all that went up today, if I'm not mistaken, so I think it's just now connecting it, plugging it in.
And the
Asking the power
skybox is
company
good,
to
it's,
connect power to
Yeah.
it, so.
it's got air and everything in it.
Air's good in there. We're
Countertops come in?
about to replace the countertops up there.
Waiting on those.
Yeah, and then we're gonna do some window tinting up there to kind of help with we looked at a replacement cost, it was pretty pricey, and so we're gonna try the window tint with the air conditioning, that should take care of it. If we need to do some replacement, we can, but I think we'll be good. So yeah, excited for those kids, I wanna see those kids kind of cut loose on that stuff, because they're gonna do it better than the adults will.
Yeah, that's
Probably a lot
Oh, yeah,
easier
for
to
sure.
Yeah.
push it up a lot quicker.
Does North Murray have any needs that you know of?
Oh, he probably has a list. Hold on, let me get his list out.
Who's gonna ask for a
Yeah.
Everyone
adjournment?
wants to go home.
No.
Okay, get his list out.
So you can do baseball.
I can make that
What's that?
So you can do baseball.
Yeah, he's probably got a list of them all on.
Now, I think with the parking lot, did we get it finished, the kind of repair work up there?
They've got a little bit more to do on the student parking lot yet, and around that area.
And then we got of course, the county's out working there on the turning lane, coming in.
Yeah.
They're making some progress there, we're excited about that.
About 2 weeks out on that, is what they told me.
That's really
Good.
good.
Yeah.
Well, they had it packed and then they done a lot of it out today, so I don't know
Oh.
if something
Hmm.
went wrong.
Have they started on the, turn-in,
That's what we're talking
That's
about.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Okay,
turning
so-
lane.
Yeah,
they had it,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, they got dirt and stuff piled up and stuff. I'm not
That's what I'm
sure.
thinking along the parking lot.
Yeah.
They had it packed and I thought they were about to start the paving
Paving.
process, but then they dug it back out, so. I'm not really
It was
sure
just
why.
practice.
I guess so, I guess so.
Well, I can't wait to see the Jumbotron in full working.
Will it be
That's gonna
similar to
neat.
the one in Ringo? Or be
Yes, it'd be
Yeah.
similar to that.
Mhm. And I think Dalton High has one now, don't
Dalton's
they?
got one,
Yes.
Calhoun.
Yeah. A lot, you see a lot of high schools have them now, yeah.
Well, not the
Cahola Creek has one on their baseball
I
field.
know.
And I
Mhm.
thought, geez, yeah, they went on their baseball field.
Well, we were excited to partner with this company, they wanted to kind of make this
Yeah.
a showcase project and gave us a really good
Good for them.
deal on it, and they're gonna be bringing people out to take a look at it, and it's a great thing to see, so excited about that.
Any other discussion? All right,
No.
none, I need a motion that we adjourn.
So moved.
Brenda,
Second.
Second.
Sheila, you said that?
Yeah.
Sheila, all in favor? We are adjourned.